Hello and welcome to another episode of DC Best Ever. Now, for those of you who've been watching my videos, you probably know how much I love eggs and breakfast food in general. Now, I make omelets quite a bit, and I do have a tendency to try to see what random ingredients will go into an omelet and actually taste pretty good. Now, in a fit of shame, I decided to go for fourth meal last night. And for those of you who don't know what fourth meal is, I went to Taco Bell. I don't have too many options for fast food near where I live, and unfortunately that was one of the only places that was open at the time, and I got their new nacho fries. And this is what's left of them. So I got rid of the sour cream because I'm just not a fan. And I added guacamole and jalapenos. And I'm like, I don't think I want to just reheat these as is. I want to put them into an omelet and see what happens. So I'm going to take you on my journey with me. Let's go to the kitchen. All right, so the first thing we're going to want to do is chop this stuff up because I can't just throw it in a pan all willy-nilly and add it to an omelet. It's just not going to work out that way. So let me put it on a cutting board and cut it into bite-sized pieces before we continue. All right, so let's go ahead and dump this onto the cutting board and see what happens. I actually wasn't expecting it to come out in one piece like that, so I'm pleasantly surprised. But at the same time, it's kind of gross. But let me grab a knife real quick. All right, so I got me a knife, and if you want a recommendation on knives, I don't recommend a Cuisinart. It just doesn't stay sharp very long, and it's very susceptible to rusting. Let me go ahead and chop this up. And I don't have to go like crazy fine with my chop on this stuff. You know, I want to have some chunks, something to bite into. And I think that's probably gonna work for what I need. Look at me, I'm making a mess over here. And so I'm using this tiny cutting board here. And if you look over here, I got this gigantic cutting board within an arm's reach. So I guess you could call that a fail. All right, next I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my pan. So we're gonna turn our pan onto medium. Most of the stuff I cook is on medium heat. I wanna add a little bit of butter to the pan. I know Taco Bell's food can be greasy, but I wanna make sure that nothing sticks to the pan, especially the eggs when I add those. But let me get the butter in there. Let it melt down a little bit first. So I forgot to hit record before I added the stuff into the pan, but you can still hear it sizzling. Now I want to get this as spread out in the pan as possible so it cooks evenly. Grab my handy dandy spatula. I personally like flipping things while they're in the pan without using a spatula because you can do it all at one time. It just takes a little finesse, just like flipping an egg without using a spatula. And once you got the move down, it's a lot easier to do it that way. All right, now I got 2 eggs. And I need to whip these up real quick because it's not gonna take long for this stuff to heat up. And I usually just grab a coffee mug and a fork. And I have yet to find a way to crack eggs without making a mess on the counter. Grab your fork. And don't be afraid to really get in there and whip these guys up good. All right, these are browning up real nice, but I want to turn the heat down a little bit. And I want to add a little bit more butter. And that is so the eggs don't stick to the pan. I'm still getting used to this new pan. This is actually one of Rachel Ray's pans. I found it at Bell's for like $20 off. I've never owned like an expensive pan before. I think it was originally 60 bucks. But so far it's working really well. Now I just want to distribute the butter around the pan as much as possible. And I'm going to go ahead and dump the eggs right into the pan. And now I just kind of swirl the eggs around, make sure that it's coated the bottom of the pan. And now I'm going to cover it. Now, I don't normally cover my omelets, but in this case I'm gonna do it to make sure that the top of the eggs cook, because I'm not gonna be able to like flip this whole thing over to cook the top side of it. So I'm just gonna let this go for a little bit before I add cheese to the middle. And for the record, this video is not sponsored by Copper Chef. I should probably blur the logo out. That's cooking up quite nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and add my cheese now. Normally when I go to the store, I'll get like the Mexican cheese blend, the pre-shredded stuff. And that usually works pretty well. But I really like anything that has like jack cheese in it, because that melts really well. And I think that'll be good, because there's actually cheese inside of the nacho fries, a little bit of nacho cheese. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat down to medium low, because I don't want the eggs to get brown. I don't want them to overcook. And I'm gonna put the lid back on just to make sure that cheese gets nice and melted. Just because it's a Taco Bell omelet doesn't mean that I can't add fresh ingredients to it. So now, just because it's a Taco Bell omelet doesn't mean that I can't add fresh ingredients to it to spruce it up a bit. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of fresh green onion. And a little bit of fresh cilantro as well. You know, I know there's guacamole in this this thing here, but the way their guacamole tastes, I don't think they have much in there besides avocado. I'm gonna add a little bit of this inside the omelet. And now with all these fries in here, it's probably gonna be pretty thick, so I'm not gonna be able to, I might not be able to tri-fold it, but I'm gonna give it a shot. All right, well I got the middle fold. And I think it's ready to plate, so let me grab my plate here, and I'm gonna try to flip that other part over. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Look at that. Don't forget to turn your stove off. But yeah, look at that. That looks really, really good and very unhealthy. All right, let me add a little bit more cilantro on top, a little more green onion on top, and no Taco Bell dish is complete without fire sauce. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I only eat Taco Bell as a way to eat their hot sauce. You know, I usually douse whatever I get with this stuff, and I usually get fire, but I'm still pissed that they got rid of the Verde sauce. I used to combine the fire with the Verde, and it just added like a better flavor to it. So let's go ahead and add the fire sauce to my omelet. And this is a big boy, so I'm probably gonna need a couple packets worth. I don't think I'll need all 3. I just did that for dramatics. Yeah, 2 is plenty. All right, time to grab a fork and give this bad boy a shot. Make sure that you don't use the same fork that you whipped up the eggs with though. Now of course, I couldn't do this without having some kind of a glamour shot. You wanna get the close up of this omelet so you can get a sense of the epicness that is this Taco Bell omelet. All right, time to give this bad boy a shot. Let's see what happens. I'm really looking forward to this. Wow. That's actually really good. By adding the fries into the pan first before I cooked the eggs, it allowed it to get crispy on the outside again. So it's almost like hash browns. And you know, you get the heat from the pickled jalapeno that they had in there, which is a nice touch. And then the nice melted cheese. And what I also like is when I added the cilantro and the green onion, it just gives it a touch of like a fresh flavor to it, so it doesn't taste like leftovers at all. So if the question is, will it work in an omelet? The answer is absolutely yes. Until my next video, you guys take care.
If you're enjoying my videos, don't forget to subscribe right here. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook so you can share it with your friends. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.